Welcome back to Everyday Garage, guys, and we're finally going to be laying paint on the GMC. I'm so excited, guys. I cannot tell you how much work this has been. As you can see, both the doors are fully sanded. The cab is finally sanded and gone through and blocked and everything else. So this thing is finally ready for paint. And I'm so excited to see everything sanded, guys. If you remember last episode, we got the doors together. I had to sand them out, had to weld in some pieces, and then we ended up with some paint fails, but finally, I got it in high build. And then I jumped over on the cab and I spent 16 hours hand sanding, going through every piece of it, trying to sand through all the texturing I had done on the cab. I remember in the last video, I asked myself a question. Is it supposed to look this orange peely? I'm not really sure about the finish. It just came out, I don't know, just bumpy. No, Jason, absolutely not. That was not normal. That texturing was a pain in the butt, but it's done and I got it there, guys. And I've done a ton of work since then, guys. As you can see, everything is ready to go and paint ready. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Like I said, guys, there's been a ton of work done. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. I've already resanded this cab so many times. And then I found a bunch of pinholes that needed to be filled. I also saw some pitting on the roof that needed to be taken care of. So I busted out the glaze putty and got all of those spots really taken care of. If you guys remember, the back of the cab was pretty wavy, and then I had a bunch of filler from filling all the pinholes. So I went ahead and primed it, but this time I did a little smarter. What I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm doing a 4-to-1, I'm gonna do a 20% reduction. Now, as you reduce it, it does reduce the high build property, which really just means put more coats if you really need it. It's still build the same with more coats though. Now, I'm using a fast reducer so that it still dries fast. Now I'm gonna go to 20% reduction. All right, stir it up nice and we'll spray it, and hopefully I've solved all my high build woes. And there's the final product. And man, that looks so good. I am blown away. I'm so happy. I can't even tell you. You saw the texturing that I did before, everything that happened. 20% reduction has made this into an awesome primer. It laid super smooth, guys. And for some reason, all of the lights in my shop have disappeared. So if you can see, it looks good. Super happy with it. So after that, guys, I've already went ahead and blocked it all out and it just looks awesome. Besides one little spot there, it just looks so much better and it's super flat. I also got all the doors done, and what really surprised me was how much work the doors actually needed. All right, so I have 120 on here and let's see how flat this actually is. Now this is what I meant by highs and lows. So I've actually sanded this out pretty good, as you can tell, but everything that you see black is a low. So that's all of the waves you would normally see if you just went ahead and top coated it right away. And then we got a big old low right in here. Hopefully I can get that out. So it's just kind of going through with the 120, making sure I get all of the black out, all of it dead flat. And then you just start working up through the grits, 120, 180, 220, 320, and then it'll be done. So that's kind of what I'm trying to get through, guys. Some of you guys already know this. If you don't, that's just the process. Just keep going. And the only reason you go up through the grits after, so 120 gets you flat. All the other grits gets the scratches out until you get the 320, which should be good enough to seal. And then you don't have to worry about it. As you can see, guys, definitely block your stuff, because even though it feels flat, it's definitely not. That was crazy, but I got it flattened out and it's good to go. The back of the doors are done. Like I said, everything is sanded and ready to go, guys. Just go ahead and check how nice that cab looks. Can you see the shine on it? Maybe from here for the shop light. There, just look at that. That's been sanded to 320, the whole cab is, so it's ready to go. The interior's done, and even though it doesn't really look clean, there's a lot of overspray. I've actually been through here, blown it out. I've went ahead and waxed and grease removed a bunch of stuff. But that was really the best I could get it without just losing my mind cleaning in there, so I'm most likely just gonna plastic all that off. And don't worry, all that stuff is gonna get sound deadener anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Now, as you can see, guys, the paint booth is up. If you're not familiar with this, guys, I just use these cargo things from Harbor Freight and then just some tape and plastic, and it saves a lot on the overspray. So let's finally jump in on this, guys. So what needs to happen first is, like I've said in a previous video, I want to paint the interior first, a different color, before I paint the exterior. And the interior means the interior of the doors too. Some guys don't do that on the cabs. I really want to do that. I like the way that the doors look when it's closed. It's one color. you know, on both sides. That's kind of my goal. So what I need to do is go ahead and start taping stuff off. So what I'm gonna do is actually use this windlace rail right here as the dividing line. So I'm gonna come in and use that line there. Now to tape stuff off, guys, what I'm gonna be using is this. Now, I had talked about previous video, I had a clear plastic version of this that started flaking. Oh, I need to lock those wheels. That actually started flaking off on me. So because it was flaking off, by flaking off, I mean the paint would get on the plastic and it would just chip off. I realized I was using the wrong one. What you want to use is this blue stuff. 3M actually makes it, and you wouldn't believe it's $8 a roll, which is actually pretty cheap. And you can actually get 3 rolls for 20 bucks off Amazon. So I picked them up real fast, really realizing how cheap it was, so that I can just come in here like this, and it makes it incredibly easy to tape everything off. So I'm gonna go through, get the whole cab taped off, and we'll start laying some paint. There it is, guys, everything all nice and taped off. And like I often say on this channel, that took way longer than I thought it was going to. It took like an hour and a half, which is wild, but I got it all done and put away. Now let's kind of show over what I did. And I said I was gonna be using this blue paper here. So I got it everywhere I think it'll actually be holding paint, like close to surface it'll actually be painted. And then I kind of cheaped out and went with the clear stuff, just in areas to keep the overspray off. Now, like I said, I'm gonna be using this as a dividing line, this windlace rail here. And then when I go to paint, I'll probably transfer that tape line a little further over. That way I'm not getting a hard lap line. I got in here this way there's not too much like dust from whatever might be back there. I even brought some plastic down through here, like I said. Now I left this exposed because I will be painting these the same color as the interior. That's just, I'll explain why I'm doing that later, but it's gonna kind of match how I plan to do the interior. And then up here, I taped along there. The reason I taped along there is because a bunch of like dust or insulation gets behind there. You don't want it blowing all over the place, guys. Also, I did something where I actually left the windows open on each side. I did that so it gets plenty of ventilation. I don't want to have to deal with a bunch of dry spray falling on everything just because none of the spray from the paint can get out. And then on this side of stuff, this pillar is going to be a lot easier to paint if I can reach it from this side. Just trying to use my brain a little bit, guys. And learning from my mistakes. I remember having to do that when I was primering it. It's gonna be a lot easier. And for the doors, guys, I just went ahead and taped along here. Now, I already verified this is where the weather strip goes, so there will be running the entire length of the door, which will hide our paint seam really, really nice. So this is gonna look good. And I did the window too, because the way I'm gonna end up doing it is probably most of the interior of the window will be the exterior color. So that is good to go, guys. That one's done, that's done. We're finally ready to start prepping some stuff and get to painting. All right, guys. And then just a little wax and grease remover just to make sure our panel's nice and clean. The upside of the wax and grease really shows you how like smooth your panel is. It looks good, guys. I'll show you guys a little bit on the cab later when we paint the exterior, but man, super happy with the way it came out. And like I said before, this is my first paint job, so there's definitely probably gonna be some things that aren't right, but man, I'm super excited about it. Consider I've never painted a car. I'm not hating how things are turning out so far. And it's definitely easier to say when paint hasn't been laid. Well, you saw me knock out that door, and I went ahead and already did the other door and the cab. So everything's all done, guys. See if it's still drying. Oh yeah, a little bit right there. Look how good that looks. So awesome. So now that everything's tack cloth and cleaned up, that means we get to push this off to the side, throw some plastic on it, because I'm not actually painting the interior right this second. What I want to do first is all of the little interior parts. So I want to get the garnish molding done. We have the interior light, more of the garnish molding there. I don't know, door stuff, part of the shifter, which is hanging there, our steering column. Now I want to bring all that in there, and I got to hang it from the hooks and stuff like that. I want to get that painted mainly because, and I'll show you, these doors are going to sit like this right after I paint them. And then if stuff's hanging over here and I'm painting it because I got nowhere else to put anything, a bunch of dry spray is going to end up on top of it. So if I cover everything with plastic right now, I get all of that stuff painted, then I just pull the plastic off. It's already clean. We wipe it down one more time, and then we can spray the interior. I think that's the way to do it. I'm just trying to do this the best that I can because I've made enough mistakes with this paint job. I'm trying to avoid as many as I can now. Here we go. Like I said, guys, all the little stuff. It's all the little stuff that gets you guys, all the little stuff. All right, guys, it's time to finally bust out some color. So I'm using Valspar here, and that's because I got it at my local paint shop. I actually bought this a long time ago. I bought this, so before I had a shop, if you're new here, I had a different shop and then I moved into this one and everything had to go into storage for 6 months. I bought this color right before I found out I was putting stuff into storage. So it's been a minute. It sounds good. Let's just go ahead and mix it up and hopefully it works. All right, started off with a little shake and bake. There we go. There it is. All right, guys, all shaken up. So let's see how it turned out. Now, the color that I chose actually was because when I first got this truck, the dash was pretty rusty, all surface rust. So I actually did like a rattle can restoration on it. So what I did was I found a GM color that I really liked. I took it apart and I sanded it all down and I just painted it. As you can see, I took it all the way apart when I did it. But what I went with was Storm Gray, Storm Metallic Gray from GM. That's exactly what I have here. Let me show you. So that's gonna be the color, guys. It's really mixed up right now, but basically it's gonna look like that. Now I chose this color because it looked really good on the rattle can, and then when I sprayed it, I fell in love with it. So I decided to go with it again. So that's what it is, GM's Storm Metallic Gray. So this gets mixed to, let's see, TDS sheet that came with it. I think it's a 4-to-1. Yeah, so it's a 4-to-1 and you can use up to a 10 to 25% reducer, which I'm really not sure which I want to do yet. So we'll kind of go from there. Now, if you're new here, guys, I use Harbor Freight's paint system. It's like PPS's first generation. It's like 15 bucks to use the system, so it's super cheap and it's nice. So we'll bust that out. Which is just these little, and that went everywhere. Okay, making a mess as always. That's these little inserts that kind of drop into here. I'm gonna try to do like a little funnel with the tape here. Usually works pretty good. It does not work with the primer because that stuff is very heavy and it's a solid. It should work with this though. One thing I didn't mention is that this is a single stage, guys. I'm going single stage on the interior. I will be going base clear on the exterior, but my thought process on that was it's simple to just lay it down, and then also I wanted it to be able to touch it up. And from what people said, and I have no idea if that's actually true, is that it's easier to touch up a single stage. And I am gonna reduce it slightly. I'm just gonna do a 10% reduction. All right, that does it. Not gonna lie, guys, I'm a little nervous. Finally laying finished paint on this thing, even though it's just the interior is super nerve-wracking after all the time I've put into it. Now, what I've got here, guys, is Harbor Freight's Black Widow. It's supposed to be their good gun, had a lot of good reviews, and you know, it's fairly affordable. I think it's like 180 bucks. And then over here in my makeshift paint booth for ventilation, I just have some Bach fans kind of hiding the gaps over there. And then I do cross ventilation from that door over there. All right, let's get to spraying. Finished paint going on the truck. Now see, this is why I want to put plastic over everything. Just look how much spray got everywhere. This is what would have happened had we just painted everything and then went to do the interior bits with it here. But check out how it came out, guys. Oh my God, it came out so nice. I'm so stoked for that. Like it laid down so good. That shifter just looks awesome. And those are all the little bits hanging up. And I didn't have to do everything. Some of it's gonna be exterior color, but man, I'm super stoked about this, guys. It was definitely super awkward trying to actually paint on that little cart. Where to go? This thing over here, just trying to get everything, trying to make sure you're waiting in between coats. I probably didn't show it, guys, but I did 2 to 3 coats, depending on what it was and how well it actually covered. And then I tried to wait in between flash times and all that. And I'll show you on this, but it was really hard spraying like that. So now, guys, we actually get to start on the good stuff. And another upside of spraying that first is floor is real nice and tacky. So if there's any dust on there, it's not going anywhere now. All right, there it is, guys. I think I'm gonna do it like this. Put the cab here, that way I have a 360 degrees around it. And then we'll just put the doors back over here. All right, guys, let me just go ahead and run a tack cloth over everything one more time and make it nice and clean. All right, everything is all tacked off and ready to go. Now, if you guys have noticed, I have a lot of burn through spots. There's a bunch of epoxy showing on the dash too. And also some of this had like a white high build that was underneath here. Bunch of little spots, some epoxy showing through here. It's a lot better to have a uniform base to be able to lay your base coat on. So that means we're gonna have to lay a sealer coat. Now a sealer coat, guys, and again, first paint job ever. So take everything I say with a grain of salt, is simply a thinned out primer. So you thin your primer out so it's as thin as like say a base and a clear coat, and you spray it over right before you spray on your base coat. That way it seals it in, gives a uniform color, a uniform base for you to spray your base on. You know what I mean? Primer, all that. And then you don't have to sand it. You just will let it flash off, hit it with your base, and you go from there. So that's what I'm gonna do, guys. So I'm using the same high build that I've been using, but I'm gonna use it as a sealer. Not all high builds you can do that with. Check your TDS. U-Pull does say I can water this down and do a 4 to 1 to 2. So basically half of this is reducer and use it that way. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do, guys. You know, the downside is it gives you one more chance to mess up. So kind of sucks, but I think it's gonna be the best way to get the paint job that I've been working so hard to get. All right, now this funnel never really works with this, but we'll try it. Where am I at, actually? I didn't even look. Okay. So we'll dump this in. All right, now for the reducer, guys, I'm actually gonna use a slow reducer. So when I was doing the high build, I was doing a fast reducer, which just means it flashes off faster. Slow means it's gonna flash off slower. And I'm only doing this because it was recommended for me to do this. And basically the slower it flashes off, the more it has time to level out and create you a better surface. Now I have actually mixed up a batch of this before because I knew I was gonna do this. I did actually test it on a panel because I'm learning from how bad I textured the cab, and it actually laid really well. So I'm confident we'll be able to get it to look good. All right, all mixed up. As you can see, it's a lot thinner. There it is all clipped in, guys. Let's go finally paint this interior. All right, there it is, guys. The sealer is on. Now it looks a lot more uniform. As you can tell, it started to dull out, so it's already flashed off. Needs a little bit more flashing on this because I actually ran out and had to make more, so that one hasn't been sitting as long. This one's already flashed off, so it's starting to look really good. I'm gonna let this one flash off real quick, and we'll finally start laying some colors. I'm so excited, guys. This is gonna look so good.
All right, here goes nothing. I'm gonna get these edges real quick. carried away too much. I hit the fan, dang it.
And there's the first coat. It laid a little heavier than I would have liked, mainly because my cup hit right here and my gun got stuck, but that's fine. It looks pretty good, but it's a little orange peely. I'm not gonna lie, that sucks. I'm gonna see what I can do about that. But this is a single stage, so it's not really gonna dull, so you kind of just gotta check to see how much it's flashing off. It's been about 10 minutes now. It's coming out pretty good. Like I said, a bit orange peely. So for the next coat, even though this one went really hard, I'm gonna try to lay a whole nother one. I'm gonna turn the pressure up on the gun. Hopefully that helps. Again, I'm new. It's kind of what I was told to do. If not, well, I guess it's gonna be what it is. But it's painted and it's looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and get this next coat on. Okay guys, I'm actually going to start, what? Don't get scared. She gets scared inside the camera, guys. So I was going to talk to you about is it's the next day, and I'm super excited about this because that means the paint can kind of be touched a little bit. And as you can see, it turned out pretty good. I'm actually super happy about it. The orange peel isn't perfect, but it definitely died out. It was a lot worse while it was wet, so the paint leveled out really, really nicely. And what's really cool is if you turn the light off, you don't see a lot of that metallic, which I like. It's more subtle, but say when the sun is hitting it, it really shines through. This side is really nice. It's all just came out pretty good. And you can definitely see how the orange peel leveled out here. A little bit here and there, but it's really, really nice. And a lot easier to show on the door. So turn the light off, kind of just let the shop light go off it. It's not perfect, and somehow I missed a scratch there. Now, as you guys can see, I actually forgot to tell you that it's satin. I was doing this in a satin because I don't like a high gloss inside an interior. It's just a personal preference of mine because I've driven in one like that, and the sun glaring off, it just burned your eyeballs. And it's no fun for me to actually drive in a car like that. It does look really, really nice though. So I went with a satin, and that's another reason I actually did a single stage because it's really hard to get satin in a base clear style. But anyways, so that's kind of how we are. And then I do have one mistake, guys. Oh, I'm so bummed. Yeah, check that bad boy out. The worst part about that run is I didn't even need to put another coat on here. And I was like, look, I got a little bit of the gun. Let me hit it with another coat. And then I got a little run. And then what I, geniusly thought in my head was, let's just lay more paint to see if I can blend the run in. And it just got worse and worse. So that's what I have to do to fix this door. But everything else is really good. Let me show you all of the little stuff. Don't mind how messy the shop is, guys. It's just how it gets right now. Shifter is just awesome. All of the little door pieces just came out fantastic. And look at this, guys. I was actually pretty happy with this. The GMC for the horn button just looks so good. All right, guys. Well, there's not really a lot I can do today is what I'm trying to say, because I still need this to cure. Well, it will take tape, and I could probably do the cab just by taping it off. I need to lay the doors this way, so on this. So I want the paint to get a little harder before I do that. And also, what we can do real quick is get out this run. Now what I did here was I just taped it off. So that's the run that I showed you. And I taped it off because one of you guys, had commented that it is a lot easier to make sure I don't burn through the paint by just taping off the run and sanding it that way. So I'm wet sanding with 320 and seeing if I can get it out. All right, took a little bit of doing, but there it is, all out. You see a little bit of the shade of it, but there's nothing to the feel. You can't feel it at all. I think that's just staining from the paint, but everything is ready and good to go. Now, Normally you can kind of just tape it off and try to dust some paint in, but you really can't patch in metallic, at least from what I understand. I really don't know anything. So I'm just gonna go with what people say. You kind of just have to respray the door. Luckily it's just a small area and hopefully I don't get any more drips on it. So that's what we're gonna do. The TDS does say I can spray. Again, I didn't get done in here till like midnight last night. So it's still the morning, so it should be fine. Let's go ahead and throw another coat on it and see how it turns out. Okay guys, well it's actually a day and a half later because I wanted to let this bad boy kind of cure up, and it's smooth to the touch. It's been about a day and a half like I said, and it came out really good, and check it out. That's how our drip turned out. Really, really nice. So I'm pretty happy with that, guys. The big downside, and I don't know if it's gonna show up that well on camera, is it ended up a little bit more orange peely than the first spray. Like this over here was the first spray. It actually laid really, really nice. I'm actually pretty happy with this now. And it's totally my fault, obviously. It's just battling, you know, being new and never really have done this. I didn't thin this enough. So I reached out to some people letting them know that I was having some orange peel issues and, you know, Facebook forums and stuff like that. And turns to find out, you know, all my fault. So I should have thinned it better. I mean, these guys are using viscosity gauges and all kinds of stuff. I was like, I'm just a guy in a garage, but they're like, most likely needed to thin it better. And then when I kind of noticed it and, you know, mixed with it, I did notice it was actually kind of thick at the time. But that's on me, guys. Oh, well, we'll move forward. So now it's something I'll keep ahead, and I actually have a plan to see if I can avoid all orange peel on this, but we'll deal with that later. What we need to do now is tape everything off. So that's the part we are, so we can paint the exterior. But of course, there's been a downside, guys. I always make mistakes. I can't get away without having just some mistakes being made. So right here, guys, when I was painting up underneath the dash, I had plastic over here, but I didn't think about paint coming up in. So, as you can tell, we have some of the interior paint made its way up when I was spraying the bottom of the dash right there. So I'll have to sand back a little bit. It's not a lot, but it's enough where we need to make sure we get that back so we can get the, you know, the metal prepped the way it's supposed to be. Now it really isn't that big of a deal. I just got some 320 on here, and I've sanded this so many times that this is muscle memory at this point. All right, guys, it's all sanded out. Now, for the frustrating part, I got most of the dust already off. I used the old tack rag from the doors, from doing the interior, and I got a lot of it off, but dust is not your friend. Now this is gonna be this area. Once we get everything taped off again, I will go through and tack rag the whole cab again. So we'll get all this dust out of here. All right, guys, with this looking really, really good, now we can go ahead and tape off the rest of the cab and continue actually painting. Now, I'm just gonna, you know, tape it up in the windlace just like I did the other one. And then I gotta figure out a way to mask off the bottom. I definitely don't want, what is this? Oh, nothing. I don't want the bottom of the truck getting sprayed. It is undercoated, and I don't want to have to go through and repaint that. So I'm meticulously going to tape that off too, which is going to suck because this is going to take a while. So let me go ahead and jam through it, guys, and I'll bring you back. And there it is, all taped off, guys. And I went through and I meticulously made sure everything was painted. So every window is good. We got down here all squared away. Oh man, I'm so worried about blow-throughs. I've got every little hole to make sure nothing was causing anything. And then I taped on the inside of the windlace rail. Wait, that's not popping through. Okay, good. Because the actual bar shows through even when you have the seal in, so I want to make sure all of that was taped off and there's no holes. Like I said, guys, it was a massive amount of work, and it actually took me 2 hours, which sucks. So that means it's actually the next day because I work 12-hour shifts. So I get off late and I have 4 hours maybe to do it before I have to be back the next day. So I got all this done. I got everything squared away. So we're ready to lay paint now. I'm so excited. And the upside, the fact that it actually did end up taking me another day is, well, now all of the paint has had 3 days to cure. So I'm pretty confident it's not going to get messed up with those doors laying on the front like that. So I've already tack clothed everything off at least once. So now I'm gonna go through and wax and grease remove the entire cab, which will also take me a little while, and the doors, so we can get this thing nice and clean. All right, guys, everything has a wax and grease remover all over it, so now it just needs to flash off. And while it flashes off, what I'm gonna do is wet the floor. Now, one of you guys did comment saying that it was a good idea to wet it, because the dust will, you know, helps the dust not fly up and get all over this, everything while I'm painting it. So I'm gonna do that. Why I didn't do it before was because I was painting above ground, but down there trying to paint the cab corners and all that stuff, I wanna try to eliminate getting trash and everything. Now, the best way I thought to do this was to just mop the floor. So I'm just gonna push water into everything, hopefully not splash it everywhere, and we'll get everything wet. And there's the shop all mopped out. Now, downside is I definitely got some water on the cab corner, a little bit on the rocker over here. I did wipe it all down and then wax and grease remove again. That sucked and just my luck, so hopefully that doesn't destroy my paint, but I did clean it all and hopefully I got it. All right, guys, the time has finally come to paint this thing and I got a real smile on my face. I've put hundreds of hours into that cab with the rust repair and there's 4 coats of epoxy and the bodywork. If you're new here, it is just a ton of work done, guys. So, I'm can't wait to see it in color. We do need to seal the cab though, just like I did with the interior color. I want to seal everything off, especially with all the black epoxy showing through. So we're going to do the same thing. Put a little bit of primer on it with a 4-to-1 hardener and then 2 parts slow reducer. All right, leave that there. Change my gloves and let's go tack off the cab.
Okay, guys. A turn in on the fluid about 28 psi. I think that's what we're going to run it at. Let's start spraying it on the truck.
Well, guys, it's actually 2 days later, and as you can see, the truck did not get painted. So you guys saw me lay in some primer, and then what happened was, I don't know how, this has never happened, and I've sprayed a lot with guns. My arm hit the regulator, shot the pressure to 40 psi, and I've got so much dry spray shooting out of here. Let me see if you'll see it. It started pretty much just spraying sand. So it sprayed it all down the side here, anywhere where I was doing the gun, and by the time I come to the edge to flick it out and bring back, it would just send the sand down the side of the cab. Did that on both sides. I got a bunch of dry spray in here. So obviously the paint job was ruined at that point. Well, not ruined, but I couldn't move forward. That was it. I had to stop, you know, that screw up was there. Obviously I could have still done the doors and stuff, but what's the point? So, after some choice words, contemplating my life decisions, and wondering why I ever thought I could take this project on, I had switched gears and was like, you know what I'm gonna do? Just turn this into what a final prime is. So I decided just to prime everything, call it the final prime, and then move from there. So, you know, switch gears, trying to save the idea. So that's what I did, guys. Everything is primed now. So you don't, no more spots. I got a 1 final coat of primer, and the upside is, once I figured out that what happened to the regulator, this laid down super smooth. There's no issues here. Oh, and then this happened. I should probably show you this. Nice little paint drip here. And again, that's another first. I popped the hose off the bottom of the gun just to see what was going on with the pressure. I go to pop it back on and then hit the gun to check my pressure regulator, and the hose popped off and just squirted just straight paint everywhere. Basically, I was having a lot of fails. It kind of sucked, guys. So long story short, like I said, I just decided to switch gears and do a final prime. So that's what I did. So all of the spots are covered. It's all one color. So at least I was able to salvage something out of that whole situation. Trying to look at the bright sides. So with that being said, guys, what I'm gonna do, and I've already done like I did over here, let me show you, and I think you already saw some sanding areas. I'm gonna sand everything out to 600. So I already went ahead and did all of this. So this is out to 600 now, and then this is gonna be guide coated. I'm just gonna go ahead over with 600 on a DA. I'm gonna do that on everything. So like I said, guys, I'm just gonna sand it, but I'm gonna use a guide coat to make sure I get everything, try to do it proper. But again, I'm gonna do it with the DA. So we'll just go over it like this and sand it all out. Now don't worry, I'm not gonna make you watch all that. You guys watched enough. This is supposed to be a paint video. Just wanna show you what my process is gonna be. All of this will have to get hand sanded because you can't take a DA in here, all through here. The roof I'll probably DA. That way, you know, it'll be nice and easy to get it done. So let me go through, guys, and sand this one more time, and I will bring you guys back. Wish me luck. And like that, guys, we're getting deja vu. We're right back where we started. We got the cab set up and retaped because I had to put new tape on it because everything was covered in sanding after sanding it. The doors are done. I spent 13 hours yesterday sanding and DA sanding, and you know what takes so long is all the little window sills, everything, the door jambs, all that stuff. All the little grooves all in here have to be sanded. All that stuff takes a ton of time, but it's all been retaped, taped at the bottom. I got all new tape over here. We're ready to go. And as you can see, new plastic up in the paint booth. Essentially, if there's a plastic shortage, I might be the one that caused it. But guys, I got to reset on my mistake, and I'm actually really, really happy, oddly enough, that that happened, because take a look at the doors. No blotchy primer spots showing through. I mean, a little bit of light you can see there where some of the primer's showing through, but it's not all patchy like it was before. This looks really good. So really, I needed to do a final prime. And just check the cab out. Oh, it just looks awesome. You can still see enough scratches, but it's 600 grit, looks really, really good. Now, why I did 600 grit was because when I did the 320 before and then I primed, I actually saw some of the scratches showing through. So I basically used it as a way to kind of go back and fix what I didn't do right before. I'm really super happy with the way everything came out. So take it in stride, guys. Sometimes a mistake bears its own fruit, if you know what I mean. We are ready to start painting once again. So I already wet the floor, as you guys can see, and I did it smarter where I wet an area and then I moved the cab over. So no issues to deal with. We have some burn through, of course, because I can't sand properly to save my life, but it's all right there. 13 hours of my life, and honestly, it was worth it. There's a little wax and grease remover still there. So everything looks really good. Now with the burn through and stuff like that, guys, plus I really was going to anyways, I'm still gonna throw a sealer coat on this. Now, even though I say sealer coat, I am not using that high build again. Honestly, it was kind of not the proper thing to use. I was using it in place of a final primer. I can admit to that, guys, and it bit me. What I'm gonna be using is what you normally traditionally use as a sealer coat is epoxy. Now I have the gray epoxy here, the stuff I've used before. So we're gonna be good to go. I swear my language always fails me when I get tired. It's been a long day already, guys. What I really want is the adhesion. Wow, okay, see, I'm a mess. So I did actually call SPI Epoxy, which is the brand that I have here, and talked to them about what I have. I told them everything. The brand of primer, what the scratches were, what I had burned through, everything. I want to make sure I could use it. They absolutely gave me the green light. I mean, 100%, said without a doubt. But they did say, even though their TDS says mix 0 to 50, kind of only use 20% of a reducer. So that's what we're gonna do, guys. I have their brand reducer, so I'm gonna try to do everything right and only mix 20%. The reason they said that is because they said after 20%, they've noticed strength loss in their epoxy, and they don't hide it, they tell you. So they always recommend reducing only with 20%. So we'll go 1-to-1 with the 20%. Okay, don't spill it, Jason. I got epoxy all over me. Man, I am a klutz, I swear. All right, that is really, really well mixed. And oh yeah, that's almost like water. So 20% is perfect. We'll let this go. Now, what it does say is this needs to sit for a half hour. All right, guys, it has been well over a half hour, so we should be good to go. A quick little stir again, and we'll finally be able to lay it down.
Also, what I'm gonna do different, guys, is I wanna do underneath. So I'm gonna do the bottom and the cab corners, and I wanna do jams first.
And there it is, guys, finally all primed up, and I didn't actually mess this one up. And if you check it out, it actually looks really, really nice. Pretty happy with the way it came out. The cab's pretty straight, laid down really nicely. Just looks awesome, guys. So happy. And here we are with the doors. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Now, it's actually been 2 hours later because you have to wait 2 hours before you can... There's a little hair in there. Yeah, we got it off. There we go. Trying to keep as much trash out of this as I can. I mean, I know I'm in a garage, guys. So this isn't going to be a perfect paint job, but the best I can do. Now, like I said, it's been 2 hours because you have to let the epoxy sit for 2 hours before you can top coat. It's actually been like 2.5 hours. So it is time to finally show you guys the color and lay some color on this thing. Little shake and bake. All right, guys, it's all shaken and ready to go. Now, I can talk about colors. I wanted to go green on this truck for a really long time. Actually wanted to do Neptune green, which is like original GMC color. Now, one of the things that I told my wife was I would actually let her pick the color. It was one of those things of her allowing me to have all the time that I spend in here. And she did not want the green, unfortunately. And then we were looking at some custom colors. Getting paint and clear as a combo is expensive. Let me tell you that. So what I went with, guys, was TCP Global, the restoration shop. They're kind of a mid-grade brand. They're pretty affordable. They're actually local to me, just down here in Southern California. But they have a great color selection to pick from, and they have a good clear combo. So I was able to get a gallon kit with gallon of clear, gallon of color for only $500, which sounds like a lot of money, but it's really, really expensive to get a base and clear. So what I went with, guys, we're going blue. That's actually a lot lighter of a blue than I thought. So my wife went back and forth and she picked marine blue, which is that color there. And I know, I hear you. That's like every GMC and Chevy that's being painted right now. I know. And I said it. I told her that, but you know, you pick your battles in a marriage. So she allows me to be out here essentially 24/7. I might as well give her the color that she wants to have. So that's what we're going with. Now they do a 2-to-1 mix, so it's just going to be a reducer, no hardener in this particular color. So we're going to do 400 of this, 600 of the reducer. Where are we at? Oh, shoot, that is thin already. Whoa. And I've made a mess, as always. All right, now reducer. Now, even though I didn't end up going Neptune green this time, I actually do have plans to have a Neptune green car. I'd love to get a Tri-5 wagon. That's kind of my goal, like a 57, a Neptune green, two-toned with white. That would be awesome. And I'm gonna be using the Black Widow again. I've just cleaned the gun. Like I said, it's been 2 hours, so I was able to clean up the gun pretty quickly. There it is. No leaks? Let's get to spraying.
All right, guys, I'm gonna do the same thing where I'm hitting the edges first or underneath, you know, door jam, stuff like that.
Well, there it is, guys. The cab is finally in color. Now, it looks good. Don't get me wrong. It laid pretty good. Laid really nice. I mean, if you really kind of check out the shine and everything, it just looks awesome. No drips or anything like that. Very minimal orange peel. I'm super happy with the way that the paint laid. But check this out, guys. I don't know. Are you guys going to see how much trash is in this paint? It's so bad. Like, it's so bad. I'm so frustrated with that, guys, because it's not just, oh, a couple little things here and there. It's really, really bad. My guess is that when I was doing down here, that I just kicked up a bunch of stuff. Because I haven't really dealt with trash really at all in this whole time, so it's not something I'm really accustomed to. And I'm thinking that's kind of what happened. So spraying down there just really got everything up in the air, and it just fell after that. What I should have done, and had thought about it, I would have done all of that, let everything settle, tack it off again, and then kind of headed that way. But this is where we're at. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm gonna have to go through and wet sand all of those out. So I've kind of already started. So here's a little area where I sanded out one and another. Here's a little area where I got one out. So I'm gonna go through and just start knocking all that out. The downside is there's a lot of them. It's a lot. So I'm gonna go through and just start 1000 grit everything. It should work out okay. I looked it up. I think that's the best way to kind of go about doing it. And then we'll see how much of this we can save. The upside is once I get all this out, I'm not gonna shoot down there. It's already got color. I'm gonna go ahead and just, you know, do that. I'll spray one more base coat, and I think down there we'll leave it until we have to clear it. And then maybe like I'll do what I said, kind of clear that and make sure there's no crap everywhere before I do the rest of the clear. All right, guys, more and more sanding. And it's been sanded for the millionth, gazillionth, I'm lost count. It's been sanded again, is what I'm saying. And all the trash is out, which is really, really nice, because that was super scary when I saw it all. And yeah, we got it out. Definitely chipped some out, but I was able to sand it and feather that, so it's super smooth. Yeah, everything looks awesome, guys. Had a bunch of dust particles in here, kind of came out like that, but everything, like I said, is real nice and feathered. So we're good to go. And then over here, I did the same thing. But as you can tell, it's a lot more plastic everywhere, guys. I went ahead and threw a bunch of plastic everywhere because I'm hoping that keeps down on the dust. It probably won't, but you know, I gotta try. In the future, I'm gonna ditch the water thing because there's just too much dust in here. Maybe plastic everything off and then roll it in. I don't know, guys. But that definitely sucked. And shout out to my wife. You saw it. She came out and helped. She noticed the distraughtness. So she put in some work and we were able to get it done. So now I can throw another coat on everything and hopefully lay clear after that. Oh, and if you're wondering why this is covered in plastic, because I don't want any dry spray or any nonsense to fall in here. And then once I'm ready to paint these, I'm gonna take these off, tack them off again, because everything's been wiped down and tacked off, and then spray them. All that trash coming up from the bottom was definitely the problem, guys. That came out awesome. I'm so stoked. Came out so good. Just look at that thing shine. Little to no trash anywhere. I mean, just tiny little speck I think I saw somewhere, but everything else is really, really good, guys. I'm super stoked about this. So another crisis averted. You know, all the problems that I keep causing myself, essentially. But it's been sitting for about 45 minutes, and I still don't understand why it's so shiny. I understand base coat is supposed to be like a dull flat, but that is the way it's coming out. And I've even checked that paint can, which is now sitting over there, like 1,000 times. It clearly says base coat. I checked the number on it. It's definitely base coat. So it is what it is, guys. We're just gonna move forward, and now we can clear. Like I said, it's been sitting for 45 minutes. It's flashed enough. So now we're gonna go here, and what I have is a European Euro Clear. It's still from Restoration Shop. It's just their European Clear. Again, it comes in a kit. I just picked this one because it's kind of like a high solid, so it's supposed to be better. I don't know. But I still actually have to come under here and clear. So I don't want that same problem we just had. So I taped all this kind of close up beneath here. And what I'm gonna do is spray all of the clear under here and then stop and just kind of go around and tack anywhere that I need to. That way to make sure it didn't just get crazy. So we'll spray it, we'll do what we have to, clean to see if there's any stuff after, just kind of chase my tail on it, but hopefully not end up with a bunch of trash again. All right, let's mix this bad boy up.
All right, let's hope I don't mess this up again, huh?
And there it is, guys, a fully painted cab. Man, I am tired. It is, can you guys see? 2:15 in the morning. I've been going at it all day. I've been dedicated to get this done by today. We got it there. Now, it's not perfect, guys. I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. You can tell that the bodywork is awesome. But it's a little orange peely, but still really, really reflective. You know, you can see me waving to you. Same thing over here, looks really good. Little bit of trash, but nothing that can't be sanded out when we buff and cut the clear. Everything just looks awesome. We did get one drip over here. And that was mainly because I just stumbled on the plastic and got it. But that's the only drip anywhere, which is really nice. Considering it's my first time spraying clear. I'm tired, can you not tell? Can you tell? Okay, everything came... We're gonna reset that. Everything else came out really good. Man, I always told you guys, when I start getting tired, the first thing to go is my speech. Now, we did get a problem area over here with some stuff. We'll see how it sands out. This is the only area that kind of got too much trash, and everything else is pretty normal. Just little bits here and there that should come out with the buff and cut and our drip. Now, I'm going to bed, guys, and we'll let this cure overnight, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Well, guys, it is the next day, actually the next night. I had a really busy day today, which is actually why I stayed up till 2 a.m. trying to get that done, so I didn't have much sleep. But I have to show you guys how good this came out. I'm so stoked about this. As you can see, I have taken the tape off, and I probably needed to leave that on for the cut and buff, but come on, you couldn't resist seeing the color contrast, seeing the cab finally painted. Just looks so awesome, guys. Interior, exterior came out really, really good. Like, I mean, once it leveled out, a ton of the orange peel even went away. That's awesome, guys. If it wasn't for the little bits of trash and stuff that got in here, this almost didn't even need to be buffed. I am astonished how nice this came out. Little mirror finish, can I wave to you? Looks awesome. Now we do have our drip here, and then I did find another one here on the rocker, just a little bit, and another one, of course, but not too bad. Just one right here. All of that should come out with a good cut and buff, which we'll do in a whole nother video. I'm not doing any of that now. That's it for this video, guys. It took a journey to get us here, but finally the cab is painted inside and out, and just take a look at it. It's a beautiful thing. I'm so excited to see this thing going down the road. I want to say thank you guys for your support. Sorry for missing last week's video. I was putting in a lot of work. It's just how this kind of rolled out. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, guys. And remember, if I can do any of this, definitely if I can do any of this, so can you. I'll catch you guys on the next one.